This video is brought to you by NetSuite by Oracle. If you're a CEO who's tired of QuickBooks or tired of the nonsense of running multiple programs, then upgrade to NetSuite to more effectively run your company. I predicted the Dallas Cowboys to go 8-8 in 2020. I thought they'd have an ugly year, but still, I thought they would just barely win the NFC. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be a rough year. They have a tough schedule, but they're good. They're a good football team, new coach who's won a Super Bowl before, Dak Prescott. They're going to win their division for sure. And, oh man, a lot went wrong. The reality is the Dallas Cowboys went 6-10. And the big headlining, disappointing, upsetting story is that their quarterback, Dak Prescott, got hurt. It was week 5, the third quarter, against the Giants. The Cowboys were winning 24-23. He was running, extending a play, got hit, and it was gruesome. His leg was dangling the wrong direction. Awful, really sad. I felt so bad for Dak. I think Dak, say what you want about Dak as a quarterback, and that's whatever. He's a great person. I don't know how you look at Dak Prescott, his story, his family, how he talks, how he carries himself. He's a great human being. And if you can't recognize that, I think you have a problem. I love Dak Prescott, the human being. And unfortunately, losing Dak Prescott was only the beginning of all the problems for the Dallas Cowboys. And way back in the beginning, August or September, whenever I did my prediction video for the season, it was probably September. I waited as long as I possibly could because of COVID and whatever was going on. I wanted to be really accurate. The defense and the offensive line were injured and aging and having problems already in September. And I'm like, this is not going to be pretty in Dallas. You had the linebacker, Sean Lee was hurt. The right and left tackle, Lyle Collins, Tyron Smith, they were having problems. Gerald McCoy, their defensive tackle, another guy, a good human being, tore his quad a week before the season started. Just tragic, sad. I'd been following his training routine on Instagram. I really liked him. And so the Cowboys defense was terrible. They couldn't stop the run at all. It was Dallas and Houston. Ironically, both Texas teams were the worst running defenses in the entire NFL. Houston was worse by like 20 yards. Literally, it was awful. And so I think one of the things, by the way, if you're a Cowboy fan, in the draft, you got to get a defensive tackle. Somehow you need help in your front seven, especially the interior defensive line, somebody who can stuff the run. You got a lot of, basically, if you're a Cowboy fan, you should panic. You have so many problems across the board. You fired your defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan. He's the guy who, remember he rubbed hot sauce in his eye, the poor guy. I felt bad. It's idiocy, but I felt bad for the guy. They replaced Mike Nolan with the former Falcons head coach, Dan Quinn, a guy, Dan Quinn, who fell from grace really tragically and fell hard from grace, lost the Super Bowl, kept having, leads blown where they just kept losing really embarrassing games. Dan Quinn failed as a head coach. I'm not sold he's going to be, he might work as a defensive coordinator. I mean, there's a reason why he became the Falcons head coach. There's also a reason why the Falcons got to the Super Bowl. It's Kyle Shanahan, their offensive coordinator. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, I did. So I don't know. Dan Quinn, I would think he's good. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Dan Quinn hire. They definitely, I think, upgraded from Mike Nolan. But here's a really telling thing about the Dallas Cowboys. They did not beat a single team with a winning record in 2020. They had 6 wins. They beat the Falcons, the Giants, the Vikings, the Bengals, the 49ers, and the Eagles. Every single one of those 6 teams had a losing record. And then after Dak got hurt, Andy Dalton came in. Andy Dalton is a guy who was okay. He's nobody's long-term answer. Ben DiNucci even at times played quarterback, which is like, he started a game. I think a primetime game. Like, Ben DiNucci, man, rookie quarterback out of, what was it? James Madison. Went to Pitt for a little while. I think he played with Max Brown. Now, Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott had literally the worst year of his career, and that's including a year in 2017 where Ezekiel Elliott only played 10 games in a season. And part of that's because he's not the same physically, but also, in fairness to Ezekiel Elliott, if you're going to criticize the guy and say he had a bad year, you got to recognize the offensive line is aging. The passing game was very weak. He really wasn't helped the same way he's been helped in the past. So part of it is the situation around Zeke. Part of it is that Zeke is just the guy who probably shouldn't have gotten a massive contract from Jerry Jones when he did, the way he did. I think he's a little bit overpaid. Again, I'm notorious for saying I would not pay a running back. Not long term, not after a certain age, not after a certain amount of mileage on their body. It's brutal. It's not fair. But running backs very rarely last a long. Remember Maurice Jones-Drew? That was a flash in the pan. A lot of running backs are great briefly, and then their legs run out. Their bodies aren't the same. And again, I want to repeat this because I think it's very important for Cowboys fans to hear this, the reality of it. If you're a Cowboy fan, I would panic. I don't know. I don't feel good about your future. I don't feel good about what's coming for you guys. I don't feel good about what's gone on recently in Dallas. You hired Mike McCarthy as your head coach, who won a Super Bowl before. I was optimistic. Hey, Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl in the past. He had a year off to kind of get his act together and do some soul searching. He did a bunch of, I think he did like a Monday morning quarterback interview where he gave an in-depth talk about the work he's been doing. And the reality is Ron Rivera in Washington looked like a way better hire than Mike McCarthy. Way better. Ron Rivera was fighting cancer and found a way to make the playoffs and just make it happen and make it work and galvanize his football team, and they fought hard. And meanwhile, Mike McCarthy's team looked like a mess. The Cowboys were not organized. They were making bad decisions. Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland looked like the right head coach. Joe Judge in New York looked like the right head coach. Mike McCarthy, I'm going, I don't know that this guy should have gotten the job. I don't like saying that, but it's honest. And Mike McCarthy made some weird in-game decisions where 2-point conversions at weird times, field goals down by 25 points. I guess that's his analytics. He talks about analytics a lot. I don't see what he's thinking. I don't understand it. I remember week 1 against the Rams. This one is like, it haunts me actually. 4th and 3, early in the fourth quarter. You're down 17-20. You're down 3 points early in the fourth quarter. And instead of kicking the chip shot field goal, they were on like the 8-yard line. Kick the field goal, tie the game. It's early in the fourth quarter. They go for it on 4th and 3. They get stopped. They lose the game by 3. Oh, not a good look. And I explained that decision to me. I don't get it. I don't know why you made that decision. And repeatedly with Mike McCarthy, I'm going, your game management is, you can't even explain it. It's so weird and confusing and bad. And I know Dak Prescott was hurt. But Mike McCarthy's an offensive-minded coach. They should have looked at least organized on offense. They didn't look organized. They looked like a mess. And again, I know the starting quarterback's injured. It's hard to look. But you have a veteran quarterback, Andy Dalton. I've seen who was their new coach? Kevin Stefanski made Cleveland run like a well-oiled machine, and he's a new young coach. Mike McCarthy's done the job before, and yet they did not look polished. They did not look well-organized. They did not look like they were running on all cylinders. It was bad. I don't know, man. Now, another problem with the Dallas Cowboys season is that, quite frankly, Dak Prescott's contract situation really did not get resolved. Dak Prescott wants a ton of money, wants to get paid. I think he wants to get paid more than he's worth. I've heard the number $40 million a year. I wouldn't pay Dak Prescott more than Deshaun Watson. Sorry. I liked Dak's awesome, by the way. I'd pay Dak money for sure. I would be careful with getting too big on the amount. And the reality is this was the year that Dak had an opportunity to prove, hey, I'm worth that $40 million. He was playing on a franchise tag. This was his opportunity to prove what he had. Now, some people would say that, well, because the Cowboys fell apart while Dak Prescott was injured, that should show, hey, clearly Dak's valuable. But to me, that's not enough. Because to me, what 2020 showed about the Cowboys is that they're awful. They need help everywhere. They need to spend money on players, on defense, on the offensive line. Everywhere. They need help across the board. And paying Dak Prescott a ton of money doesn't fix your roster. Do you see the conundrum? Dak Prescott can't win with no help. You can't. You pay Dak Prescott $40 million, you got no money to spend on other people. And revenue's down, by the way, in the NFL. I don't get it. I don't understand. And Dak, this was Dak's year to prove himself, and the reality is he got less than 5 games before he got hurt. And that's not fair to him. I know that. But this was the year Dak had to prove himself, and we didn't get that storyline resolved. Now, the only positive thing I can say about Dallas, I mean, very negative. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm trying to think of positive stuff that happened this year for Dallas. I can't think of it. I can't think of a good thing to say about Dallas other than this. Their rookie receiver, CeeDee Lamb, which some people would even say he was awful. I would admit he didn't have a perfect year. I know some people disagree that CeeDee Lamb had a good year. I thought he had a good year. I thought he had some drops. I thought that he had some moments where, like, especially that Week 17 game, there's a moment where, the game's hanging in the balance. You got to make a play. It was like 2nd and 17. I just watched it earlier today. You got to catch the ball in that moment. He dropped it. But what he also showed is, the drops, sure, but he also got open a lot. He made some good plays. You got to remember that CeeDee Lamb had Andy Dalton throwing him the football. So you can be harsh on CeeDee Lamb, and I would understand that perspective if you want to be that way. But I'd go easy on the guy. I thought he had a pretty solid rookie year. I'm excited to watch CeeDee Lamb next year. I had to find something to be positive about because for the most part, I think the Cowboys are in trouble. I think they have the wrong head coach. I think they're about to pay their quarterback too much money and cripple their franchise. I think they have problems everywhere across the board. I'm not convinced they hired the right defensive coordinator. If I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'm panicking. And it's like whatever DEFCON is the worst, that's the one. I don't know how DEFCON works. I've heard DEFCON like 5. I've heard people say DEFCON 5. Oh, it's cool. I don't know what that means. I hear it in movies. I don't understand it. But DEFCON, whatever is the most serious and problematic, that's what the Cowboys need to be at because they have problems that I don't know how to solve. And I'm not the one doing it. I know that's like a silly thing to say, but somebody's got to solve their problems, and I don't know how you do it. And I'm very, very interested in the future of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, maybe next year comes around, Dak plays amazing, Mike McCarthy's the right guy, Dan Quinn is the truth. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I don't feel good about the Dallas Cowboys. And if I'm a Cowboy fan, I feel much more strongly hesitant that our owner's meddling, that our owner's overpaying our running back, and is going to overpay our quarterback and cripple our franchise, and we got the wrong coach and the wrong defensive coordinator, and we need help on the defensive line and the offensive line, and we have all these problems, and nobody's addressing them the right way. That's how I would feel if I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. And 2020 put a bad taste in my mouth as far as the Dallas Cowboys.